All right, guys, what is going on? Back with another video, and today it is a late night. It is after 11 o'clock Sunday, uh, April 28th, and I was about to go to bed, but I wanted to talk about this before I get this thought process out of my mind. Um, I was recently playing Stellar Blade. You know, I love this game. This is a really good game. Started off playing it, got about an hour in of it so far, and it's something just really hit me. I know there's some talks about censorship and all this other stuff that's going on, but I feel at this point, real mature games that we used to have back in, you can go far back as the PS2, in some cases PS1 days, they're pretty much gone now. Now I know in the early '90s, everybody was up in arms about Mortal Kombat, what is it, Night Trap, and a couple other games, Eternal Champions, games that was really like, just gory and graphic, and kind of Stellar Blade is like that too. But I think games that have like real mature content, and in some cases like stuff that's actually not for kids, I think that stuff is going by the wayside. Not only that, there's a lot of agenda based stuff is going on, where to the point where you're not going to feel like you're getting a game that's for people that are like 15 and older, and in some cases I could say even 17 and older, like it says on the mature package. I feel like now a lot of games are a lot of companies are very scared to put that type of content out, because it feels like they're going to offend somebody, or somebody's going to get mad because the people, so you're not represented properly, or you're represented in a bad light, or whatever the case may be. And I've gotten to the point where I'm not necessarily saying I accept it. I just understand where I need to tread now. This just goes along with all the other stuff that's going on in games, where like there's some games that I'm just not gonna, play or buy. But when I saw this game, you know, somewhat just basically like a hack and slash RPG, this is something I've been wanting to play for a while now. I mean, one of the games I love is the first three God of Wars, even the Origin collection. I love those games. I love the hack and slash in the level up type of games with the story mode. I love those type of games, and this really gets to me. But when I'm looking at other games, like right now, I understand, the Mortal Kombat's of the world, like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 11, a few other games, that are rated mature. You see a few of them that's on PC. But when you look at like the heavy hitters, like they used to be back in the sixth generation, the seventh generation, and even back in the fifth generation, you're not going to see those type of games anymore. I mean, I will be surprised if Grand Theft Auto 6 will be anything like, these games behind me, like the Grand Theft Autos of old. Grand Theft Auto 5, you kind of saw a little bit of a shift away from that. And I already did a video about, the online aspect of that, but, that's a little different. But when you look at, the like I said, the Grand Theft Autos of the world, you talk about Red Dead Redemption. Will that even have a third game? When you look at, I will say somewhat of, I'm not gonna say like a Spider Man or whatever. I'm not necessarily sure, but I could see where that game could have been a really mature game, or had some mature content in it. But that's just Spider Man. But we all know the people who grew up in my era. Let's say you know, who were born in the '80s and the '90s. We can handle like a matured type of superhero game. I doubt if we'll ever see anything like that at this point. Also, I can't remember if Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate or Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think those are mature rated games, but I would like to have a full fledged, real mature game with this, not just talking about the gore and violence, because I think nowadays we're all kind of desensitized to that. I just want a game that's necessarily, you know, for a few games that's for adults, something that we would see in, let's say, old school rated R movie, something that has more mature, grown up content in games. Because like nowadays, a lot of gamers are, between the age of 20, what I think is what I'll even go back. Like, there's a lot of gamers that's between the ages of 17 and 45 now. I mean, some of them, you have gamers that are even more older than that now. Like, a lot of our content creators, believe it or not, a lot of the content creators are like my age, in their late 30s, early 40s. And we will, I think I can speak for a lot of people that we would like to see something that has a little bit more mature content without having, some things censored out, things, moved, and things that are, moved away because of somebody or some, group of people will be offended. I think we just have to understand that in this day and age that there are people out there that are like that, but everything isn't for everybody. Everything isn't for everybody at all. And I feel like at this point, you know, I think it's just too many companies trying to cater to that. I mean, you just had the situation with Tomb Raider when they took down the posters off the wall and they had to put them back. Like, and I really want to buy the 1, 2, 3 remastered versions of Tomb Raider. I mean, I've played them, on the PlayStation in back in the day, and I would like to get a remaster just to play them again. I think they're fantastic games from that era, and if they're a little bit updated, I would probably buy them. But it kind of made me feel some type of way. But that with the whole poster thing, but that just goes back to what I show you. Like, some of these games nowadays, I mean, even Stellar Blade, even Stellar Blade had stuff taken out of the game, and people are petitioning about it. It's like, man, it just makes me just like, you know what? I like the game, but it's just really disheartening because like our hobby is not going to be the way it used to be, and I understand it. A lot of people, a lot of things change with the times, and that's fine. I get it. You just got to get to the point where you just tread lightly. I, this is where I really feel like I am extremely happy that I held on to a lot of my games. Oh my God, I'm in the process right now, which I don't want to get into. I'm using the app, the Game Eye app, to actually inventory my games, and I don't think I'm halfway through, and I'm already over. I could say right now, physical copy of games, and it may sound small to some of you guys that got real collections, but in this room right now, I probably have over 3,000 games that are physical, and that's crazy when you think about it. And but I'm happy that I held on to those games because now it feels good to go back. I can say I can play any of these games. I can unplug the internet out for any of these, pretty much any of these consoles, or some of them don't have internet access anyway, and I could play a game exactly the way it used to be. And case in point, like if I really wanted to go back and play the Tomb Raiders from back in the day, I could just buy the PlayStation 1 version of the 2 and 3 because I got the Saturn version of the first Tomb Raider. I could just go back and play those, and I don't have to worry about any patch that will censor anything out. But the games back then they were mature, but they were a little tame based on like the overt, gory, and violent stuff. But I know I'm getting what I'm getting, and I think now even with the mature rating on some of these games, I we still don't feel like we're getting adult content. I mean, I understand that some video games are for kids. I don't expect them to play these games. Like, I was wondering why kids is playing GTA 5, but like I said, uh I just feel like the mature content is just based on, small tidbits of things that the government or the ESRB render as, not for children. Yeah, obviously the gambling and stuff like that. I don't even want to talk about nudity because nowadays you can't even have nudity in games now, which I mean I don't advocate for, but you get what I'm saying. I remember God of War had it. You know what I mean? God of War. They had nudity in it. Like right now, I can go pull God of War off the shelf, and if I wanted to see it, I could see it. Dead or Alive. Look at Dead or Alive. What happened to Dead or Alive 6? Dead or Alive 6. They got Kazumi in a full bodysuit. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? I can just go right here and play, God of War Ultimate, not God of War, but Dead or Alive Ultimate, and I don't have to worry about that. I could go play Dead or Alive 5 and be good. But it just, I feel at the end of the day, and like I said, I can ramble all day, but I feel like at the end of the day, we're going to be in a situation where we're just not going to be able to have the real mature content like we used to. And I think the real mature games they're just going to be gone by the dodo bird in some sense of fashion, unless if it's going to be cool all of a sudden to do it again, where people that get offended not necessarily be up in arms about stuff all the time about this need to be taken out of the game. I don't like this, and going after gamers just because some people just want to see certain things in their games. I mean, me personally, it is what it is. I'm going to play whatever I want to play if I like it, and I'm not that hard up for body types and nudity or whatever. I could care less, but I just want a game that feels like at least your average 20-year-old feel like they're playing a 20-year-old type game where it's like catered to that age range, 20 on up. I mean, I play enough Nintendo as it is. My Switch, you know what I mean? They have great kiddie games, and I absolutely enjoy them. That reminds me, man, that Kirby game is absolutely great. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I've said enough. All right, y'all, I'm out. Good night. Peace.